Have you ever noticed how simple things like standing up or climbing stairs suddenly feel harder than before? Maybe you felt a bit more forgetful lately or wake up in the middle of the night, wondering if this is just part of getting older. It's easy to assume that these struggles are just normal aging, but what if that's not the whole story? What if the way we live and where we choose to call home play a much bigger role than we realize? These quiet challenges can quietly steal away our independence and happiness if we don't pay attention. In this video, I'm going to share 9 surprising and convenient living options for seniors. Options most people don't even know about, that could change how you experience this beautiful stage of life. Stay with me, because your next chapter deserves to be full of comfort and joy. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and activate the notification bell to ensure you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Independent living communities. For many older adults, there comes a quiet moment, maybe while standing in the kitchen alone or flipping through old photo albums, when they wonder, is this all there is now? You're still capable, still active in your way, but life feels quieter than it used to. The house might feel a little too big. The silence might last a little too long. You still manage the chores, take care of the yard, but some days, even the simplest tasks feel heavier than they should. Most people shrug it off. I'm just getting older, they tell themselves. Or, it's better than ending up in a nursing home. And so, they stay put, even if loneliness is quietly growing roots and the weight of responsibility is slowly wearing them down. But what if the choice wasn't between living alone or being in a nursing home? What if there was something in between? Something that offered independence without isolation? That's where independent living communities come in. And many people are surprised to learn how different they are from what they imagine. These are not cold, sterile facilities. They're vibrant, age-friendly communities designed specifically for seniors who want to maintain control over their lives while enjoying access to helpful services when needed. Think of it as downsizing not just your space, but your stress. In an independent living community, you have your private apartment or cottage, your keys, your routines, your furniture, and memories. But you also gain a support system. Staff who handle maintenance, transportation, even meals if you'd like. There are walking trails, fitness rooms, art classes, and group outings. And most importantly, there are people, neighbors, friends, fellow travelers on this later-in-life journey. From a health perspective, this kind of setting is powerful. Studies show that social isolation in seniors increases the risk of cognitive decline, depression, and even heart disease. But living in a community that encourages connection, purpose, and movement can do the opposite. It can help you stay sharper, stronger, and more emotionally resilient. You don't have to move far. Many independent living communities are right in your state or even your town. The process is easier than you think. Visit a few places, talk to the residents, ask yourself not just, can I live here? But, could I thrive here? Let me tell you about Harold. He's 78, a retired truck driver from Ohio. After his wife passed away, he stayed in their house for 2 more years. At first, he thought he was doing fine. But the house got too quiet. He started skipping meals, watching more TV, and talking to fewer people. Then his daughter gently suggested he look at an independent living community nearby. He resisted. He said, I'm not ready for that. But one visit changed everything. He saw a group of men his age playing cards. He saw a woodworking room that reminded him of his old garage. He saw people laughing. He moved in 3 months later. Now, he says, I still live on my own, but I'm not alone anymore. And that's the heart of it. Independent living isn't about giving up control. It's about giving yourself options. It's about letting go of burdens you no longer need to carry and opening the door to a simpler, fuller life. So if the days have been feeling a little too quiet, or the house a little too heavy, maybe it's time to explore what else is out there. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to live in a place where life still feels like living. You've built a life full of strength and wisdom. Now let's make sure the next chapter is just as vibrant. 2. Assisted living facilities. It often starts small. Maybe you forget to take your medication one morning, or struggle to open that stubborn jar of pickles. The steps feel steeper than they used to. You keep telling yourself, "I've got this," because you always have. You've raised kids, worked hard, and paid off the house. Asking for help doesn't come naturally because for decades, you were the one helping others. But then comes the moment when you slip in the shower, or nearly do, and suddenly, the thought you've pushed aside creeps in: what if something happens when no one's around? Most people think they have to choose between full independence at home or a nursing home when things get hard. But what if there's a better way? One that honors your independence and gives you just enough help to make life easier, not harder. That's exactly what assisted living facilities are designed for. And no, they're not sad, silent places where people go to wait. They're vibrant, welcoming communities built to support you while preserving your dignity, privacy, and joy. Let's make it simple. Assisted living means you still have your apartment, your furniture, your photos, your daily routines. But when you need a little help, getting dressed, managing medications, or having meals prepared, it's there. Quietly, respectfully, without fuss. It's not about losing control. It's about getting the support you need so that small problems don't become big ones. For example, a staff member might help you with your morning routine, bring meals if you're not feeling up to cooking, or remind you gently about your next doctor's appointment. It's like having a safety net, one that lets you keep walking the tightrope of life with more confidence. And the emotional benefits are just as important. You're surrounded by people. People who smile at you in the hallway, who ask how your day was, who sit down to share coffee and stories. You're no longer isolated, and that alone can lift the weight of loneliness off your shoulders. The science backs this up. According to the National Institute on Aging, seniors who have regular social interaction and light assistance live longer, healthier, and more engaged lives than those who try to tough it out alone. We weren't meant to age in silence. We were meant to age in community. Let me share the story of Helen. She's 84, a retired schoolteacher from Oregon. After her arthritis worsened, she started avoiding the stairs in her home. She stopped going out as much, and even the smallest tasks felt exhausting. Her daughter suggested assisted living. At first, Helen said no. She didn't want to give up her independence. But after visiting one nearby, something changed. She saw a garden club meeting in the common room. She saw a piano in the lounge, where residents gathered to sing on Friday nights. And she thought, maybe this isn't giving up. Maybe this is getting back. Now, Helen says the biggest surprise was how free she feels. With help available when she needs it, she no longer spends energy worrying about every little thing. She spends her time painting again, joining book club discussions, and even teaching Spanish to a few of the other residents. So here's the truth. Needing help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to care for yourself in a new way. Assisted living isn't about surrender. It's about support. It's about letting someone take your hand just long enough for you to catch your breath and keep going strong. You've carried others for so long. Maybe now, it's time to let someone carry you. Just a little, so you can walk forward with strength, dignity, and a lighter heart. 3. Continuing Care Retirement Communities, CCRCs. It's something many older adults quietly worry about. What happens when things change? Maybe you're doing just fine today, living on your own, making your meals, enjoying your routines. But deep down, you wonder, what if I fall and need more help? What if my memory slips? What if I suddenly can't drive or manage the stairs anymore? Most people think they'll just figure it out when the time comes. But that uncertainty, that not knowing, can be its quiet burden. What if instead of waiting for something to go wrong, you could plan and still live fully today? Here's the surprising truth. There is a way to enjoy independent living now while also preparing gently for whatever may come. It's called a Continuing Care Retirement Community, or CCRC, and it's one of the smartest, most comforting options available to seniors today. So what exactly is it? Think of a CCRC as a place where you can age in place, but in a supportive environment. You start out living independently in your apartment, cottage, or townhome, just like in any senior community. But as your needs change, you don't have to move out or uproot your life. If you eventually need assisted living or even full-time nursing care, it's all available on the same campus, among the same familiar faces, in the same neighborhood you've grown to love. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. That continuity is powerful. No disorienting moves. No leaving behind your friends or favorite walking path. And no scrambling for help in a crisis. It's like building a safety net before you need it, so you can feel at peace, now and in the future. From a practical standpoint, CCRCs offer a range of services under one roof. Housekeeping, meals, transportation, medical support, even wellness classes and social events. But the real gift of a CCRC is emotional security. The deep comfort of knowing you won't have to face life's changes alone or in unfamiliar surroundings. Let me introduce you to Robert and Lillian. They've been married 56 years. When they moved into a CCRC in North Carolina, they were still healthy and independent. Robert liked gardening. Lillian joined the choir. Life was good. Then, 2 years in, Robert had a minor stroke. He needed daily rehab and some mobility support. But they didn't have to leave. While Robert moved into the assisted living wing temporarily, Lillian stayed in their original apartment and visited him just down the path. Over time, he improved and returned to living with her again. Through it all, they never had to pack up, never had to say goodbye to their home. That's the peace of mind a CCRC offers, not just for you, but for your family too. Your adult children don't have to panic in a moment of crisis or make rushed decisions about your care. Everything is already in place. Of course, planning for a CCRC does take foresight. Some communities have waiting lists or entry fees. But many seniors say it's one of the best investments they've made, not just in housing, but in quality of life. So if you've ever caught yourself thinking, what's going to happen to me if I get sick? Consider this. What if that question had a clear, comforting answer? What if you could live fully today, with a quiet confidence that tomorrow is already taken care of? You've spent a lifetime taking care of others. Now it's your turn to feel cared for, in a place that grows with you, supports you, and surrounds you with dignity at every stage. Planning doesn't mean fearing the future. It means creating space to live this chapter with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. 4. Co-housing communities. After retirement, many older adults find themselves in a quiet house that used to be full of noise. Kids running down the hallway, phones ringing, friends stopping by for coffee. But now, the days feel longer. The evenings, quieter. There's no emergency, but something is missing. Maybe it's laughter. Maybe a conversation. Maybe it's just someone to say good morning to. You might tell yourself, that's just how it is when you get older. But what if it doesn't have to be? What if growing older didn't mean growing lonelier, but instead meant finding a new kind of family? That's the idea behind co-housing communities, and it's one of the most uplifting, human-centered options available to older adults today. Co-housing isn't a facility or a retirement center. It's a neighborhood designed around connection. Seniors live in their own private homes, condos, apartments, or cottages, but the community is built around shared spaces and shared values. There might be a common house where neighbors gather for potlucks, a shared garden where people plant tomatoes and flowers together, or simply a wide front porch where someone is always ready for a chat. The key is this: you live independently, but not alone. Co-housing communities are intentionally designed to make interaction easy and natural. Paths lead past each other's doors. Meals are sometimes shared, but not required. People check in on one another, not as caretakers, but as neighbors, as friends. And while it may sound new, this model taps into something very old: the way we used to live. Before isolated suburbs and sprawling homes, neighbors used to rely on one another. They borrowed sugar. They watched each other's kids. They sat on porches and shared stories. Co-housing simply brings that spirit back, with a modern twist that supports older adults in meaningful ways. From a practical standpoint, co-housing often means shared costs. Residents might share in maintenance, activities, or even meals. There's usually a strong sense of autonomy, with decisions made by the group. And because the communities are usually small, 20 to 40 households, everyone has a voice. You're not just a resident. You're part of something together. Let me tell you about Carol. She's 72, a former nurse from Vermont. After her husband passed, the house felt too big, and the winters felt too long. She missed having people around. Her daughter told her about a co-housing community next to N, where folks grew vegetables together, organized game nights, and shared a small lending library. Carol was skeptical at first. She'd always valued her privacy. But after one visit, something clicked. She saw a group of women laughing while prepping soup for a shared dinner, and someone waved her over. "We always make too much," they said. "You should stay." 2 years later, Carol still has her own home, but also a life she never imagined. She helps in the garden, leads a chair yoga group, and on Tuesdays, bakes blueberry muffins for the neighbors. "I'm still independent," she says, "but I've never felt more connected." The beauty of co-housing isn't just in the shared dinners or the help with groceries. It's in the belonging. In knowing, someone notices if your porch light doesn't come on. I hear laughter drift through the windows at dusk. So if you're feeling the weight of solitude, or just longing for a little more meaning in your days, maybe co-housing is something to explore. Not as a backup plan, but as a better plan. You don't have to give up your independence to gain a connection. Sometimes all it takes is the right kind of community, and the courage to say yes to life again. Because growing older doesn't mean fading quietly. It means living deeply with people who care and who are always just a few steps away. 5. Home sharing. It happens gradually. The kids move out, the guest room sits unused, and the kitchen feels too quiet for just one plate. You may find yourself turning down the TV just to hear something, anything. The house you once filled with life now feels a little empty. You might say, "It's fine. I like my space." And that may be true. But when the heater breaks, or when you wish you had someone to ride to the store with, or simply someone to chat with during dinner, you may quietly wonder, would life feel lighter if I didn't live alone? That's where the idea of home sharing comes in. And no, it's not just for college kids or city roommates. More and more seniors across the country are discovering that sharing their home is not about losing privacy, but about gaining connection. So what is it exactly? Home sharing is when an older adult opens part of their home, maybe a spare bedroom, a basement suite, or even a guest cottage, to someone else. It could be another senior looking for companionship. It could be a younger adult willing to help with chores in exchange for affordable rent. Some programs even match older adults with people in healthcare or education who are happy to lend a hand. The benefits are both emotional and practical. Financially, the extra income can help with everything from groceries to home repairs. But perhaps even more valuable is the companionship. Someone to talk to over coffee. Someone to notice if you're not feeling well. someone who simply makes the house feel alive again. From a well-being standpoint, the research is encouraging. Studies show that seniors who engage in regular social interaction tend to experience lower rates of depression, better sleep, and even slower cognitive decline. Home sharing can restore a rhythm to life that isolation often disrupts. And it's not about giving up control. You set the terms. You decide the space, the rules, and the kind of person you want to live with. There are matching services across the country, many run by nonprofits, that help screen applicants, run background checks, and make sure it's a good fit. Everything is based on mutual respect and clear agreements, so you don't have to worry about surprises. Take, for example, Walter, a retired mechanic in Arizona. After his wife passed away, the quiet evenings became unbearable. His daughter helped him list a room on a local home-sharing network. Soon, he was matched with Tony, a 29-year-old nursing student who couldn't afford apartment rent near his school. They agreed Tony would do light chores and help with tech stuff, setting up Zoom calls, printing documents, in exchange for a small rent. 2 years later, they still lived together. They cooked together twice a week, watch football on Sundays, and laugh like old friends. Walter says, "I didn't just find a roommate, I found a second wind." And stories like Walter's are becoming more common. Because the truth is, home is more than four walls. It's warmth. It's safety. And sometimes, it's better when shared. So if you have an extra room and an open heart, maybe home sharing is worth considering. Not as a last resort, but as a new chapter. One filled with connection, purpose, and maybe even unexpected friendship. You've spent your life building a home. Now, perhaps it's time for that home to give something back by welcoming in someone who brings light, laughter, and a little help when you need it most. After all, aging well doesn't always mean doing more alone. Sometimes, it simply means choosing not to. 6. Adult foster care, adult family homes. It's not easy to admit when everyday life becomes a little too much. Maybe you've started to feel unsure walking across the kitchen floor. Maybe managing medications feels like juggling, or the silence in the evening feels a little too loud. You've done your best, and you're proud of your independence. But deep down, a part of you wonders, is it time for more help? Most people assume the next step must be a big facility or a nursing home, with long hallways and too many strangers. But what if there was something smaller, warmer, and more personal? A place that felt more like family than a facility? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. That's exactly what adult foster care, also known as adult family homes, is designed to provide. Imagine this. You live in a regular house, not a large institution, with a small group of other adults, usually no more than 5 or 6. You have your private room, your familiar belongings, and your daily routines, but you also have round-the-clock care from trained, compassionate caregivers who live on site. It's a gentle blend of independence and support, delivered in a home filled with warmth. These homes are often run by families or individuals who feel called to care for elders. They prepare home-cooked meals, help with medications and bathing, and offer comfort, not just care. And because there are only a few residents, everyone receives personalized attention that's often missing in larger settings. From a health and emotional standpoint, this environment makes a huge difference. The smaller scale allows for stronger relationships, consistent routines, and far less stress. Seniors in adult foster homes often experience less anxiety, better sleep, and improved mood, because they are not just being looked after, but truly looked at. And it's not just about care, it's about belonging. In many adult family homes, residents gather at the same dinner table, celebrate holidays together, and enjoy quiet companionship during the day. There's laughter in the kitchen, soft music in the background, and the smell of something baking in the oven. Feels human, because it is. Let me tell you about Marian. She was 81, living alone in Michigan, and beginning to forget little things, like turning off the stove or paying the water bill. Her daughter, Clara, wanted her to be safe, but Marion refused to go to a nursing home. Then a friend told Clara about a small adult foster home nearby, run by a retired nurse and her husband. They visited. The house was cozy. There were 4 other residents, each with their sunny bedroom. Marion was offered a cup of tea and a homemade pie. She smiled. "It feels like Grandma's house," she said. 6 months later, Marion was thriving. She no longer felt afraid at night. She joined in board games on Thursdays, and someone always noticed if she seemed off. Most importantly, she felt seen. And that's the gift of adult family homes. It's not about moving out of life. It's about moving into a different kind of care. One where your name is remembered, your preferences matter, and your days are shaped by kindness, not schedules. So if you or someone you love is starting to feel unsafe at home, but dreads the idea of an institution, this may be the gentle bridge you're looking for. Because getting older doesn't mean giving up the feeling of home. Sometimes, it just means finding a new one, where the front door still smells like supper, and the people inside care not just for your health, but for you. And that kind of care, that's worth everything. 7. Village model. It can happen in small, quiet moments. You're standing at the bottom of the stairs with a heavy bag of groceries, wishing someone were there to help. Or you miss a doctor's appointment because the drive feels too long. Maybe you've gone days without a real conversation, wondering when things got so disconnected. You might think, I just need to push through, it's part of aging. But what if the real problem isn't your age? It's that we weren't meant to grow older alone? What if you could stay in your own home and still feel supported, surrounded, and seen? That's exactly the heart behind the Village model, a growing movement across the U.S. that helps older adults stay independent without being isolated. And no, it's not an actual village with cottages and fences. It's a community of people, neighbors, volunteers, friends, who support each other so everyone can age in place with dignity. Here's how it works. Members of a village organization live in their own homes, just like they always have. But they're connected by a local network, usually non-profit, where they can request help with errands, transportation, home repairs, tech support, or just someone to stop by and visit. Need someone to change a light bulb or help you shovel snow? Call the village. Need a ride to the dentist or help setting up Zoom to talk to your granddaughter? They're there. Many villages also offer social events. Potlucks, walking groups, book clubs, movie nights. So you're not just getting help, you're building a connection. And the beautiful part? It's not one-sided. Many seniors who join as members later become volunteers, sharing their skills, their stories, and their time. It becomes a web of support, not charity, a community in the truest sense of the word. Science backs this up. Seniors who remain socially connected and feel a sense of purpose live longer, experience fewer hospitalizations, and report greater happiness. The Village model taps into these very strengths: connection, contribution, community, without asking anyone to leave the comfort of their own home. Let me share the story of Nancy. She's 76 and lives in a quiet suburb of Minneapolis. After her husband passed, she didn't want to move, but the house felt big, and her daughter lived states away. She heard about a local village called Silver Maple Neighbors, and decided to give it a try. Within weeks, a volunteer came to fix her porch light. Someone else helped her carry boxes to the attic. More importantly, she met Susan, another widow who invited her to a Tuesday morning coffee circle. Now, Nancy says she doesn't feel alone anymore. She still lives in the same house, but with so much more life around her. Villages like Nancy's are popping up all over the country, from big cities to small towns. Many offer memberships at a sliding scale cost, making them accessible to people from all walks of life. And some even partner with local hospitals or agencies to provide more support. So if you're feeling a little too isolated, or you're not sure how long you can manage everything on your own, maybe it's time to stop thinking, I have to do it all myself. Maybe, just maybe, there's a village waiting for you. Because independence doesn't mean isolation. And getting help doesn't mean losing control. The village model is about aging your way, in the place you love, with people who care, and with a network that reminds you, you're not in this alone. Growing older can be beautiful, especially when you're growing with others. And maybe the real secret to aging well isn't having more stuff, it's having more people by your side. 8. Senior co-ops. At some point, many older adults begin to feel a quiet shift. The house is paid off, the kids are grown, and the old neighborhood just doesn't feel the same anymore. Maybe the sidewalks are cracked, the neighbors have moved away, and there's no one around who gets what you're going through. You might be thinking, I want to downsize, but I don't want to give up control. Or, I don't want to live somewhere that tells me what to do. What if you could live in a community where you're not just a resident, but a decision maker? Where your voice matters and your neighbors are also your partners. That's exactly what senior housing cooperatives, or senior co-ops, are all about. In a senior co-op, you don't just rent or own your unit. You become a member owner of the whole community. That means you help shape how things run. You vote on the budget, influence how money is spent, and help choose services, activities, and even staff. You live in a private apartment or townhouse, but you also share common areas, like libraries, fitness rooms, craft studios, or gardens, with other seniors who want the same things you do: independence, friendship, and a safe, well-maintained home. Co-ops are built on the idea of shared responsibility, not just for chores, but for joy. Residents often plan social events, form committees, or just drop by each other's doors with a plate of cookies. And because everyone has a stake in the community, there's a sense of pride and respect that's hard to find elsewhere. From a financial point of view, co-ops can be more affordable than traditional senior condos or retirement homes. You buy a share in the cooperative, which may be significantly less than buying a private home, and then pay a monthly fee that covers things like taxes, maintenance, and utilities. And because the community is managed by its members, not a profit-driven company, costs often stay fair and transparent. But more than saving money, co-ops help save your sense of purpose. Let me tell you about James and Myra, both in their early 70s. After retiring from their teaching jobs in Missouri, they realized they didn't want to keep up their big old house, but they also didn't want to be passive residents in a corporate-run building. A friend told them about a senior co-op opening nearby. They toured the building, spoke with members, and were struck by the energy. There was a woodworking club, a music group, and a shared garden. Most importantly, everyone they met said the same thing: this is ours. We built it. We care for it. Today, James organizes monthly movie nights, and Myra helps with the community newsletter. They say they've never felt more involved, or more at home. Senior co-ops aren't for everyone. They work best for those who are still active and want to engage, contribute, and participate in community life. But for those who do, they offer something truly special: ownership, not just in property, but in life. So if you've been thinking about downsizing or starting fresh, and you want something more meaningful than just 4 walls and a parking spot, maybe a co-op is worth exploring. Because you've spent your life building homes, families, and communities for others. Now, it's your turn to be part of something built for you, by you, and with you. In a senior co-op, you're not just living among neighbors, you're creating something together. And that kind of belonging might be exactly what you've been missing. 9. Aging in place with home care services. There's something deeply comforting about home: the way the morning light hits the same kitchen table you've sat at for decades, the creak in the hallway that no one else seems to notice, the photo frames that hold your life story. For many older adults, home isn't just a place, it's identity, freedom, and memory. But somewhere along the way, daily life can start to feel just a little harder. The laundry piles up faster than it used to. The stairs seem steeper. The pills in the medicine cabinet grow in number, and some days, even making a sandwich feels like too much effort. Still, you think, I can manage. I don't want to burden anyone. I'm not ready to move. That quiet determination is something so many older adults share. But here's the question worth asking. What if staying in your home doesn't mean doing everything by yourself? What if aging in place could include help, gentle, respectful, consistent help, so you can continue living at home safely, comfortably, and with peace of mind? That's exactly what home care services offer, a way to remain in the place you love, while getting support for the tasks that are starting to weigh you down. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let's clear something up first. When people hear home care, many immediately think of hospital beds, strangers taking over the house, or loss of independence. But in reality, home care is designed to preserve your independence, not take it away. It's about supporting you so you can keep doing what matters most, on your terms. There are generally 2 kinds of help available through home care services. Non-medical support. This includes help with bathing, dressing, light housework, grocery shopping, preparing meals, or simply having someone come by to chat or play cards. These are often called personal care aides, or companions. Skilled medical care. These are licensed nurses or therapists who come to your home to manage wounds, provide physical therapy, administer medications, or monitor chronic conditions. This type of care usually requires a doctor's order and may be covered by Medicare. What's powerful about this setup is its flexibility. Maybe you only need someone to help once a week with laundry. Or maybe you'd like a daily visit to help with meals and check your vitals. Services can be customized to fit your exact needs. Nothing more, nothing less. And here's the science. Studies from the AARP and the National Institute on Aging show that seniors who receive home-based support are more likely to avoid hospital readmissions, experience less depression, and maintain higher levels of physical and cognitive function than those who don't get any help. Why? Because the little things, proper hygiene, medication management, regular meals, and social contact, add up to big differences over time. Let me tell you about Linda, a retired librarian living in Ohio. After her husband passed, she stayed in the family home where they'd lived for 45 years. She was managing well enough at first, but over time, the kitchen became harder to keep clean, her arthritis made it difficult to button her blouses, and her daughter, who lived 2 states away, started to worry. Still, Linda insisted she didn't need to move. That's when her daughter found a local home care agency. They arranged for a caregiver named Diana to come by 3 mornings a week. Diana helped Linda with breakfast, ran a few errands, and even reminded her to take her heart medication. But more than that, she became a friendly face. They chatted about books. They swapped recipes. Diana was helpful, yes, but she was also company. 6 months later, Linda's daughter said something that stuck with her. "Mom, you sound like you again." And that's the quiet magic of home care. It gives you your rhythm back, without uprooting your life. Of course, some people worry about privacy or about having someone new in the house. That's a valid feeling. But most professional agencies take great care in matching caregivers with clients based on personality, needs, and preferences. You always have the right to speak up if something doesn't feel right. This is still your home, and your rules matter. There's also concern about cost. The good news is that there are more options for financial assistance than many people realize. Depending on your income, condition, and state, services may be covered by Medicaid, long-term care insurance, VA benefits, or community grants. Some programs offer sliding scale fees. And when you compare the monthly cost of part-time home care to the expense of assisted living facilities, home care often comes out far more affordable, especially when care is limited to just the tasks you truly need help with. If you're not sure where to start, you can reach out to local area agencies on aging AAAS or visit eldercare.gov, a government website that connects seniors to trusted local resources. These organizations can help you evaluate your needs, explore funding, and find reputable agencies in your community. But beyond the checklists and service plans, what matters most is the emotional impact. Because at the end of the day, aging in place is about more than just location. It's about preserving choice, dignity, and familiarity. It's about being able to drink from your favorite coffee mug, sleep in your bed, sit on your porch, and continue living life in a place that holds your memories. You deserve that. So if you've been telling yourself, I just need to tough it out a little longer, maybe it's time to shift the story. Maybe asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a step toward strength. A step toward building a safer, lighter, more connected life, right where you are. Because growing older doesn't mean you should have to carry everything alone. It means you've earned the right to do things your way, but with just a little help along the journey. And if that help means you get to stay in the place where your heart feels at home, then it's not just care, it's a blessing. Your life is your story. Your home is your anchor. And with the right kind of support, you can stay exactly where you belong, surrounded by the things you love, the memories you've made, and the comfort you've built over a lifetime. Let care come to you, not to change your life, but to help you keep living it well. Choosing to age in place is more than just a decision about where you live. It's a commitment to preserving your independence, your dignity, and the memories that make your house a home. It's natural to feel hesitant about asking for help, especially when you've spent a lifetime taking care of yourself and those around you. But accepting support through home care services doesn't mean giving up control. It means gaining freedom, the freedom to live safely and comfortably in the place you love. Remember, you don't have to face the challenges of aging alone. Whether it's help with daily tasks, medication reminders, or simply someone to share a conversation with, home care can gently lift the weight without overshadowing your autonomy. It's about finding a balance between independence and support, which allows you to continue doing what matters most to you. If you're still unsure, start small. Explore local resources, ask questions, and think about what kinds of assistance would make your days easier. You might be surprised how many options exist that fit your needs and your budget. At the heart of it all is this truth: your well-being matters. Your comfort matters. Your happiness matters. So take that step. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to live your later years with peace of mind and joy. Aging in place with the right care is not just a possibility. It's a gift you can give yourself. Your home holds your story. Let it be the place where your next chapter unfolds, supported, secure, and full of the life and love you deserve.